name is Grace, and today marks 1 month since I had my ParaGard IUD birth control removed. I wanted to share this experience with you all because when I got it, I didn't know anyone else who had it before. I didn't have anyone to ask what it would be like, so I thought it would be helpful if I made this video. I'm going to talk about the insertion and removal process, side effects that usually go along with it, and questions that people commonly ask based off of my own experience. I went through 4 years with it. I had it inserted when I was 18 and just got it out this past December, and now it's been a month without it. And so if you want to know, hopefully this is helpful and you can keep on watching. So first, I'm going to be talking about the device itself, the ParaGard IUD, and what it is that it's a T-shaped device, and it's inserted through your vagina, through the cervix to sit in the uterus, where it can sit to prevent pregnancy for 10 to 12 years, they say. But I have a device here and I'll show it to you. So this is what it is. And it has strings at the end because for when it's removed, this is what the gynecologist is going to use to pull it out. And I want to show you that it also has like flexible arms. So when it goes in, the arms are going to bend and it goes back to its original shape, and that's how it's going to sit in the uterus while it's working. And then when you pull it out, when the gynecologist pulls it out, it's going to do the same thing. The arms are going to bend and it'll come out. Now I understand that that can sound like kind of overwhelming, kind of intimidating. It sounds like a lot, but I want to tell you, it's really not as bad as it seems. The 2 times that I went to the gynecologist for the insertion and removal, the procedure took only under like 2 minutes to have it done, and which was really nice. And what's also really cool about the device is that there's no maintenance needed, unlike other kinds of forms of birth control, like taking the pills or the patches. Those require frequent visits. But this one is really nice for a forgetful person like me especially. And the only thing is that the device doesn't protect against STDs, so if you're with a new partner, just be mindful of that and always protect yourself, you know. But other than that, that's like how it goes. So how the device works is, I'm going to show you it again, but basically on the device, on the base of the device and on the arms, there's like some copper coils on it, and copper is actually toxic to sperm. When the sperm comes into contact with it, it changes the way it moves so that it's unable to reach the egg. And this is a non-hormonal form of birth control. The gynecologist said it's really effective with like over 99% in preventing pregnancy, and it can start working like immediately once you get it inserted. So I should explain what I mean by non-hormonal. The ParaGard IUD is actually the only IUD that's non-hormonal that's available in the US. I'm not sure about anywhere else, but what it means is that while you have this device in, you're still gonna get your regular periods. There shouldn't be any kind of change in like weight gain or mood swings or anything like that, because it's not gonna release any kind of chemicals or hormones that's gonna change your cycles. In comparison to the other IUDs, they release chemicals that kind of change the way that your uterus will work and your normal cycle. It also works like just as effectively to prevent pregnancy, the hormonal devices, but it's like the reason why I chose this one. I didn't want to mess with any of my body chemistry. I just preferred for myself that I wanted things to remain as normal as possible when I got my IUD in. They recommend the hormonal IUDs like the Kaale or Mirena to people who suffer from really heavy periods or really bad cramps during their period, and they say it can help with that. Yeah, but just for personal preference, I wanted to try this non-hormonal one out. How I ended up deciding to get an IUD was that one day I was at community college in like English class, and a counselor came in and she told us that we should be taking advantage of all these services we had available to us as students. There was like sexual health and STD testing and mental health services that we could try out, and this was good. I had just gotten into a relationship at the time, so I thought, well, why don't I go check it out? And so I met with her, and she was really helpful. She taught me how I could apply for all this stuff to access it for free if I didn't have health insurance, and together we were able to set up an appointment with Planned Parenthood. Then came the day of my appointment. They asked me to try and schedule it around when I would be on my period. They say it's like easier to, the cervix is like more flexible to go through for the IUD when you're on your period, but it doesn't really matter. I didn't get it right anyways, and they were still able to do the process. I remember I was in the waiting room and I had to fill out some paperwork. It took about 15 minutes, and then the nurse called me in. I was so, oh, it's so embarrassing. I was so nervous. I remember walking in there, and the first thing I asked her was, is it okay if I cry? But the tears was already down my face, but she was super reassuring, and she sat me down on the table and she talked to me a little bit and told me that it was a big decision and I was really strong for that. So if you have your appointment scheduled and you're gonna go in, I highly recommend that you take some dosage of acetaminophen or Advil before you go, because I didn't, and I think my day would have went a lot smoother had I. But she had me undressed and I was sitting on the table. She told me exactly what she was gonna do before she did it, but I don't think any amount of time can mentally prepare you for it. So just be mindful. It's gonna be a little bit uncomfortable. First thing she did was that she had this like lubricant that she said was like a sterilizer as well. It was like this brown gel, and she inserted that into my vagina and she felt around, and at the same time she said that this was to find my cervix so that she would know where to put the next devices to insert the IUD. Next step was that she inserted what felt like a metal pole. It was kind of cold, and it's like hollow inside. This is called the speculum, and what this does is that it like opens the vagina so that there will be space to like go through and like put it in like without like it rubbing up against the walls. So what she said was to cough on 3, and she counted 1, 2, 3, and I coughed, and it felt like, that's when she inserted the ParaGard, but it felt like just a quick poke like at the back of my cervix, and I felt like kind of like a wave of cramp like run through me, and that was it. I was like, whoa, that was quick. But yeah, I sat up really slowly. It felt like I shouldn't move because my body just went through like this shock, but she said I would be fine and that I'd probably be spotting for the rest of the day. So she gave me a pad and I got dressed. I was like kind of shaking still, but I kind of just had period cramps for the rest of the day. I didn't make any plans and that was fine. I stayed home, but I wish I took ibuprofen beforehand. I had done a little bit of research before I got the IUD inserted. I read online that if I had normal periods, then my periods might be a little bit heavier or my cramps might be a little bit stronger. That was like the side effect of the ParaGard. But what I wasn't prepared for was that in like the next coming weeks after, I would get cramps randomly. Like I would just be walking around and suddenly it would like start to hurt. And I remember me and my girlfriend, we had a trip planned to Korea. We were there at an indoor amusement park, I think the Lotte World Indoor Amusement Park, and I felt so bad. All of a sudden we couldn't ride anything anymore because I had to sit down. I felt like I was gonna pass out, and like we couldn't find any painkillers over there, or like I don't know, maybe we couldn't read it. Yeah, it was bad, and it happened like for the next couple of weeks. With time that got a little better. I stopped getting cramps randomly, but instead they started coming at really pinpointed times. Like the week before my period, I get pretty bad cramps, and also during, which was different because prior to the insertion, I had pretty light to normal periods. Like they'd last 3 to 5 days, and I could go on about my week while I was on my period, like without taking any Advil or acetaminophen. But that totally changed when I had the ParaGard in. My periods definitely got heavier, like they lasted like 7 to 9 days, and I'd have the cramps like all the time. But yeah, on those days, like I couldn't even get out of bed without taking at least like 800 milligrams, which was like kind of a problem for me. It was like a hassle. I always had to carry it around, the ibuprofen. Once I take the pain medication though, it would be pretty okay. but it was just the hassle that I had to carry it all the time, because also like activities where I moved my core a lot, I would get cramps after, like period cramps, and that was like a result of the IUD. I'm pretty sure of it because that didn't happen before. Like if I went to the gym or like if I did a lot of running, I would feel it after. Or even like if I sat in a position too long, or like if I ate ice cream. I'm like lactose intolerant. It would make my stomach like grumbly, but also it would like trigger the cramps. Maybe this could also be considered a side effect too, but from my experience, in the first week that I had it, the IUD, I could really feel the strings inside my vagina. Like it kind of felt like fishing line. Like it kind of felt like almost like kind of itchy, and you could feel it. I thought they were too long at first, but after a while, your body gets used to it. It's not too long, hopefully. Also, when you're with your partner, you can also feel, they can probably also feel it, especially if they know. You should always be able to feel the strings if you feel up there, because that's how they're gonna be able to pull it out. But other than that, that was like all the side effects. That was it for me. So here we are 4 years later, and I finally made the appointment to get my IUD removed. And I decided to get it removed because I got out of my relationship in 2018, and since then there just hasn't really been a use for it, for all the extra pain it gives me. I thought about it and I was like, I don't see myself in a relationship in the near future. But to be honest, like the IUD, the ParaGard, wasn't a bad deal to me for what it does. It's just that I had to carry the pain pills all the time, which was just inconvenient. But if I was still in a relationship, I think I would probably still have it, and I'd consider using it again in the future just because of how simple it was. It was like a good fit for me, I think. But it's time to get it out. For the removal process, I scheduled an appointment with the OBGYN. I went there and they told me they would also be doing my first pap smear, which is a test for cervical cancer. And the gynecologist said she'd be doing it at the same time as when she did my IUD removal. Well, the process was really similar to the insertion. She had me sit on the examination table and I undressed and everything, and I had my legs open, and she told me she was going to do the pap smear first, so she let me feel the wand. It kind of felt like a mascara wand that she would use to pick up the cells, but first she used like a gel sterilizer and felt inside for my cervix, and then she put in the speculum to open things up, and after that she did the pap smear, and then right away she said, on 3, I'm gonna pull out the IUD. She counted 1, 2, 3, and then she pulled it out, and it was like so quick. It kind of felt like a fish came out. Like it was like really slimy from the sterilizing gel, and it was like a tampon kind of. Yeah, I had that same like cramp kind of wave through my body kind of feeling, and it felt like maybe like I shouldn't get up right away, but she told me I was fine to get up. And she told me I was done, and if I had any questions to return. She said she really recommended me to go on another form of birth control, but I kind of didn't want to. I'd take a break for now, but I told her that. But yeah, after that she gave me a pad because she said I would be spotting, and I did for a couple hours after, but I felt fine. I felt fine after that. I was able to do the rest of my day plans. I felt a lot better than when during the insertion. So that was good. That was good. Since then, it's been a couple weeks now, like a month, yeah. And I already had my first period again since I got it removed, and things really went back to normal. Like my period went back to being light, like back to the 3 to 5 days. I don't need the Advil anymore. Yeah, my body is the same as it was as if I never had it. I saw a couple questions about IUDs that I wanted to answer. One of the ones I saw was if you can still wear a tampon while you have an IUD in, and yeah, you can. The IUD is like deep inside, and even with the strings in place, it won't get in the way of the tampon. You can still wear those. I saw another question that was like, can the IUD get lost inside of you? And it can't. It's not going to go anywhere past the uterus. It's super highly unlikely that even like the strings is gonna get stuck in there. Yeah, but you shouldn't have to worry too much about that. Another question I saw is if you can get it out before like the 10-year or 12-year lifespan. And yes, you can get it out early. You can get it taken out whenever. Yeah, and you'll go back to normal cycle if you had the copper IUD, the non-hormonal one. For the other ones, I'm not really sure. Another question I saw was, what does it feel like during intercourse to have the IUD in? And for myself personally, during intercourse, I can't feel like what's going on with it down there. But your partner can, if they, especially if they know that it's in there, they're gonna be aware of it. But it shouldn't hurt them or anything like that. Yeah. Overall, what I would say is that I do recommend the ParaGard IUD as a form of birth control. It's a pretty good trade-off, not getting pregnant and not even having to think about it, but just having the side effects of like maybe a heavier periods and more cramps. I liked it and had a good experience with it. Whatever works for you, everyone's body is different, so this is just my take on it. Yeah, so I guess that's what I have to share today from my personal life experience. If I didn't answer something that you want to know, you can ask in the comments or anything. I'll get back to you. Thanks for listening to my whole story if you listen to it all. Yeah, I'll see you guys later.